Hey friends, and welcome back to the channel. I'm so excited to be here with you after my quite long hiatus. In honor of my return, today's reading is titled Return. So take that as you will. Maybe something is returning to you, maybe you're returning to something, maybe you're being called to return somehow. So we have three different options here. If one stuck out to you, maybe that's the pile for you. I know when I listen to readings, I generally go through phases of, choosing pile 2 or choosing pile 3, and it'll consistently pretty much be the same for me. So yeah, if you're drawn to multiple piles, feel free to listen to multiple also. I'll try to keep today's reading somewhat short. So yes, pick your pile and let's get started. Alright, so if you chose pile 1, this is your reading. We're starting out with the Gift of Tarot. I don't know if you've ever seen these. I actually have the little wrapper here to show you. They're so fun. It's these packs of 3 cards that you can get, and it's a little 3-card reading. So the 3 cards for this reading are from my most recent one. Super fun. Let's start. So your first card is the Fool. And the card says, don't let worry hold you back. It's time to take that leap into the wild unknown. Let your innocence be your guide. You can dance off a cliff knowing that you'll either bounce or fly. Either way, you've changed your luck simply by taking a chance at something new. So that's awesome. When I see that, my first thought is that you're returning to fun, the experience of just fun and play and joy in your life, returning to your child self, maybe something that you even enjoyed in childhood. The first thing that comes to my mind is like art. I'm probably shared this before in readings, but I always wanted to be an artist as a child, and people would tell me that I would die hungry on the streets if I pursued art, and I'm sure that blocked me for such a long time. And it takes time to, sometimes come back to those things in childhood that we were told were foolish or a waste of time, or so that's kind of what I'm getting to kind of start with this pile. You're returning to what you really love, that maybe you haven't prioritized. You're returning to maybe even like a sense of exploration, travel, going different places. Maybe you started something in the past and gave up and you're returning to it now, starting again. And maybe even returning to your faith, because the Fool is like my favorite card in the whole tarot deck, and to me it speaks of having this sort of blind faith. So maybe for a while you had lost faith, and now something is changing in you that is bringing you back to that. But yeah, I think this is really beautiful, just returning to a sense of light, warmth, joy, exploration, curiosity. And your other card is the Poet. Love that for you. So when I think of the Poet, I also think of this similar energy of sort of childlike joy, seeing the world symbolically, seeing things as beautiful, focusing on the good, focusing on the beauty. Maybe you even are a writer. So maybe you're returning to a writing practice, maybe you're returning to a creative practice. Maybe you're just, returning to seeing the beautiful world around you, and that is igniting this faith in you. Or maybe, as you're sort of coming back into this Fool energy, that might be sparking something creative within you. Like as you let yourself just explore and be curious and travel, that's sort of your muse at this time. And so it's almost like the muse is returning to you. So the first question I want to ask for this group is, what energies are assisting you in this? Like, what energies will help you connect deeper with the Fool connecting with your inner poet, your inner artist, your inner creative, your inner contemplative, your inner mystic. What can help? Pile 1. Ooh, there we go. Gratitude and perspective. I love that. Love that for you. That's so beautiful. So yeah, that totally is the energy of the Fool and the Poet. Like I said, just like shifting your perspective from the difficulties and the challenges in your life to the beauty and the good things, and really choosing to lean into that and to let that project you forward. You have happiness on the bottom and it says a choice. So yeah, I feel like you are absolutely choosing happiness now, where maybe for years or for a long time you may have been stuck in this sort of heavy, dense kind of energy. You're now choosing to focus on the good, and the more that you shift your perspective, the happier you become, the more the muse strikes you, the more you want to write, the more you want to create, the more you want to explore and just have fun. And it almost feels like, yeah, you're almost back in this sort of childhood feeling of like everything is good and easy, even like compared to what adults normally experience, and it's all because of this shift in perspective. I'm also noticing the numbers. You have 7 and 16, which 16 plus, or 1 and 6 is 7, and then the Poet is 7. Oh my god, you guys. So the number 7 is symbolic of the crown chakra. So your connection with the spiritual realm, your connection with God, or whatever your spiritual belief is, yeah, source, the all. You're opening your crown chakra, and it's through this practice of gratitude and curiosity and seeing the beauty and faith that's sort of unlocking this new spiritual journey. This is definitely a spiritual return, and it feels very light, like it's not bogged down by the heavy, dense philosophical questions. It's more just like the simple beauty of life, and focusing on that is sort of sparking this spiritual awakening. And on the top of the deck you have love, and it says harness it, and it's 6. So 6 coming before 7, I feel like love is what sort of began this for you, coming into your heart. It's like heart and crown opening. And so the more that you come into your heart and focus on the good and the beauty and your connection with others, maybe specific loved ones as well, fur babies, certain spiritual teachers or gurus who focus on love, that could absolutely be playing a role. And I feel like just putting love first, since that 6 is coming before the 7s, it's like put love at the center, start with your heart. And the more that you do that, the more that you'll experience this gratitude and this happiness and this powerful creative awakening even. This is so beautiful. This energy is getting me super, super excited. What else can we ask even? It feels very straightforward to me. I have an animal oracle here. Let's do this. I want to ask what can be a balancing point in this, because yeah, sometimes with all this like very high energy, a balancing point can be really important so that we don't get like too swept away so our feet are totally off the ground. Like think of the Fool like jumping off the cliff. It's almost like, okay, if you're gonna jump off a cliff, make sure that you're like, you know, in a harness and someone is belaying you, you know. So what's the balancing point for group 1 for this beautiful, gorgeous return energy? You have the Moth. It says change and dreams. So that's really beautiful. I kind of want to go to the book for this one. The first thing that comes to me though is something with your nighttime routine, maybe. Like just making sure that you're getting good sleep, because this energy can be very like ecstatic and yang, and it's almost like this yin energy is needed to balance it. So something at night, changing dreams, maybe even changing your goals or what you're working towards. At the bottom of the deck we have Badger, determination, and mental energy. and then links invisibility and revelation. Very interesting. Yeah, so just like keeping your mind in check. I think this has actually been in conversation recently in my life, that in Kundalini Yoga, when you open your heart, every thought manifests a lot more quickly than when you're living in one of the lower chakras or even the higher chakras, because the heart is the center balancing point. And so seeing determination and mental energy with the badger, and then invisibility and revelation, like thoughts are invisible and our mental energy is invisible, but with the heart, that energy is made visible. And so part of this balancing energy is having integrity within your thoughts and, you know, noticing when a negative thought comes up that you wouldn't want it to be true, and not just like denying it, but really sitting with it and questioning it. Like if an anxiety comes up, like just being like, like why did that thought come up? Or like, like, is that true? Is there another truth here? And that process obviously is going to be very much personal to you. But yeah, moth. The book says, "The breath left my body in my fragile flight, but life resists all around. Those you loved now have small thin wings. The spirit turns toward the light. Let it be resolute. I appear in the night, offering a vision. I bring memories and dreams." Very interesting. Very interesting. That's, I mean, it's very poetic. It's also kind of cryptic as far as what this book says. It says, symbolically, the moth embodies the dark side of the butterfly, a version with great transformative value in its darker aspects. It's a nocturnal creature attracted to light. It flies close to the flame, risking burning its wings. Its movement towards fire represents the movement of those who search for truth, even at the cost of getting hurt. In fact, we should pursue the truth, but we must also be prepared to embrace it, which requires all the intensity of the moth, but more time than its lifespan. Sometimes the moth is a spirit that's lifted from the body upon death, or the presence of an ancestor that appears to warn us of something. The fragility of moths resembles the dreamlike worlds that we might lose in the chaos of the day. And yet in our dreams we can receive important indications about ourselves, or have access to another perspective regarding certain events. Interesting. So I wonder if there's part of your shadow that's transforming, and maybe part of this is just not denying the shadow, like, because sometimes when we get in these very light spaces, a friend recently was comparing like mania in like bipolar disorder to like spiritual awakenings, and while that theme can sort of be prevalent, I think that the balancing point here is like honoring the shadow rather than denying it. And trying to work with it and acknowledge that like shadow would not exist without the light. And so this light might even be casting more attention onto your shadow at times. And so I think the call here is to really be with it. Like, don't deny it, don't shame yourself for it, especially with this powerful heart energy, because those thoughts again are very powerful. And so if part of the shadow is feeling unworthy, then that thought of like, I'm unworthy will then become manifest through action or through some kind of event. And so I think, yeah, here it's just like, and I'm like, the wings look like eyes also to me. So I just think, yeah, really looking at the shadow, not denying it, not shaming yourself, and really challenging, the parts of yourself that might deny them, is a big key here. It also made me think of a quote by Neville Goddard. What is it? It's like, do I have the book? No, I don't have the book. It's something like, okay, I just have to look it up. 1 second. Okay, I have the quote here. It says, "Who spurred with true desire, plunging at once into the sacred fire, folded his wings within, till he became one color and one substance with the flame. He only knew the flame who in it burned, and only he could tell who ne'er to tell returned. Just as the moth in his desire to know the flame was willing to destroy himself, so must you in becoming a new person be willing to die to your present self. You must be conscious of being healthy if you are to know what health is. You must be conscious of being secure if you are to know what security is. Therefore, to incarnate a new and greater value of yourself, you must assume that you already are what you want to be, and then live by faith in this assumption, which is not yet incarnate in the body of your life, in confidence that this new value of state of consciousness will become incarnated through your absolute fidelity to the assumption that you are that which you desire to be. This is what wholeness means, what integrity means. So freaking powerful. I highly recommend reading this book, The Power of Awareness. I think when I read it, it was like the 12 Initiates or something like that. But just look up Neville Goddard. His knowledge is absolutely downloaded from, this higher source of awareness and wisdom. Neville Goddard was actually huge in my own, spiritual awakenings as well. So, yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna I'll pull 2 more messages for you. So this one, what do we want to know? I guess just, is there anything else that this group needs to know about this path? Like what can help them? What do they need to be aware of? Yeah, for their greatest good and the greatest good of all beings. What would be helpful? What do they need to be aware of? Woo! Wow, you got a lot of cards. Your first one is debt paid off. The old weight and habit of debt is lifted from you in your life. That's awesome. Good vibes. I want in with this group. At the bottom you've got the power. Use your abilities to resolve the situation. You can do it. And then on the other end, admit your true feelings to yourself. Be honest with yourself. Only you know what it is that you truly desire. Beautiful. So that might have to do with the shadow too, like potentially parts of your shadow that you may have been denying. And then you have these cards. Let go came out reversed. So it might be that you've been thinking there's something you should let go of, but it's more that like you're shoulding yourself, and maybe honestly you don't want to let go of it. But it says, as you surrender the need to control, your relaxed energy rapidly attracts your desires. So yeah, maybe there's something that you were thinking of letting go of, but that's maybe based out of like fear, feeling like you need to control. And what I'm getting is like, what's meant for you will be yours, and what's not will go away. So the more that you focus on what you do want, pursue things that you know that you want, you can let go of the anxiety of feeling like you have to let go of this specific thing. Because it'll kind of take care of itself is what I'm getting. Like, say it's like a job that you don't like. If you've been thinking about quitting your job, don't think about it right now. You can look at other jobs, and maybe if there's one that like really lights your heart up, then you can be like, okay, I have this other thing. Now it feels right to let go. If it's a relationship, if you've been thinking of leaving a relationship, the more that you just focus on yourself and taking care of yourself, it'll either be that like maybe that person has something come up and they leave instead. Or maybe it'll be that the sensation or feeling of rightness becomes so strong in you that you just know what's right, basically. And there won't be any question. It'll be like, I know that this is the right decision. You won't have to think about it. Next, you have express your individuality, allow your true self to shine because you're awesome. You are awesome, group 1. I love this for you. And I feel like with the Fool energy too, like maybe you're afraid other people will think you're foolish, but like, I'm just getting like lean into it, because if it's who you really are, your people will love you and they'll be able to find you even easier than if you're hiding behind a false veneer. And then ask for what you want. Let the universe and other people know what you need. Beautiful. So again, and look at the little child energy here. So, yeah, part of this healing might be not feeling shame for your desires, like letting go of that shame for what you want. And almost like a child, like when a child wants a cookie, they ask for a cookie. When a child wants a hug, they ask for a hug. And I don't know what happens when we become adults that we just think that, you know, it's wrong to do that. But yeah, it's time for you to just ask, because you are worthy. And maybe that's part of the shadow that's healing, is just feeling worthy of all of this again, not feeling like you have to, like, I don't know, work so hard and push so hard to be worthy of good things. And then I'm gonna pull one more card for you. Feel free to ask a question. It could be a yes or no question, it could be a timing question. Whatever it is perfectly aligned with whatever card is coming out now. Maybe we'll do 3 cards. I've seen other readers do it like this, so the answer to pile 1's question. There's the first one. Second one. Oh my gosh, that's way too many cards. 1 card for the 3rd answer to their question. Awesome. So you also have meditation brings answers at the bottom. So you might be, you know, called with this journey, this new journey of yours, to meditate a little bit more. What do we have at the top? Recovery. So that might be, like, maybe some of you are in this sort of recovery process, and that's kind of what this Fool energy is like a fresh start. Because it's the 0 in the Major Arcana. It's like the beginning of all beginnings. So anyway, of these 3 cards, 1, 2, 3, ask your question. If you want to ask multiple questions, you can. Pause the video if you need, because I'm just going to read them now. First one, communicate clearly. So again, and that might go with, like, ask for what you want, express your individuality. Second card is forgiveness. So maybe forgiving yourself, forgiving another person, forgiving your past self. And then you have opportunity for the 3rd card. So beautiful. That is your reading pile 1. Thank you so much for being here. This was so fun, and how beautiful. You got to be my first reading in, gosh, a year and a half. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. It was so fun reading for you today. I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope to see you next time. Okay, bye. Okay, pile 2, welcome to your reading. We are starting off with your Gift of Tarot card. These are so cute. It's like a 3-card reading you can find at, I found it in a few different places, like usually little mystical shops, but yeah, I got this one a few weeks ago with my partner, and so this is the theme of the return. You have the 2nd card, which is the 9 of Pentacles. So beautiful. It says, you've worked hard and accomplished a great deal, so it's time to take a well-deserved break and enjoy some leisure time. You have an appreciation for the finer things in life. Immerse yourself in the fine arts and natural beauty. Visit a gallery or garden. Spread your wings and try new things. I love this card. The 9 of Pentacles, I always call the strong, independent lady that don't need no man. So that might be true for some of you. I see this card as independence, being able to make it on your own. Even if you are in a partnership, it's like you're not relying on anybody but yourself. And you're feeling very fulfilled in your work. You feel like maybe your business is growing, maybe your artistic career is growing. Maybe you're actually just growing like a garden, and you feel very accomplished with that, and that's like something that you can do on your own that is like a meditation for you. But yeah, I love that card. And then your archetype to go with it is the Venom. It was reversed when I checked under the cards to make sure it was the right pile, and it was reversed. So I feel like this energy is maybe something that is going along with this Nine of Pentacles energy. If you are somebody who is feminine, I say this as a woman who can relate, sometimes this independence energy comes with this venom. And it's like, because you're so soft, it looks like there's actually like a moon in its mouth, and people who have a lot of lunar energy tend to be maybe a little bit softer. And so this new start might be having to do with this energy of maybe defending yourself, standing up for yourself, saying what needs to be said, or potentially even like releasing something for some of you that was toxic. So maybe you like quit drinking, or quit, you know, using a certain drug, or like getting off a medication that was really fucking with you, or even changed your diet. So now you're feeling more of this really bountiful energy. Maybe you're even eating like more fruits and vegetables, because it's talking about a garden, and I just keep thinking of the garden too. I kind of do want to read from the book for this one, just because I haven't really pulled it in the past, I don't think. And I don't know if you guys know this deck, but the writing is also really awesome. So let's take a quick look at the Venom. It's number 63, which is also 9. Interesting with the numbers again. Numbers are being really funny with these readings. You have the 9 of Pentacles and 63, the Venom, which 6 plus 3 is 9. So just to go into that quick before I read this to you, 9 is symbolic of endings. So I do feel like for a majority of you, it's the energy of letting go of something that was maybe toxic in your life, even a way of communicating. You see the fangs, and like that leading to more peace and harmony in your life, because the character in the 9 of Pentacles is wearing a dress full of the symbol of Venus, who's really symbolic of, yeah, peace and harmony in relationships. So I'll put this here so you can read it too if you're visual. The Venom, it says, the poison, the curse, and the toxin. Much to our dismay, the venom is always lurking in the shadows in one form or another. Its toxic presence may be found in our relationships, thoughts, speech, or environment. Thankfully, the cycle of purification and detoxification comes so naturally that it is built into our every exhale. We breathe out carbon dioxide and the plants return it to us as oxygen. More about plants. Amazing. Archetypal venom is rarely remedied as easily, however, and it can come in potent forms and quantities that are deeply damaging to us and to the world. When the Venom card appears, there's a harmful substance in our psychic realm that must be identified. Perhaps your words have a sting of poison about them. Perhaps a relationship is slowly draining your reserves. Acknowledgement is the first step. Change is the second. The remedy will reveal itself in time, and with it, forgiveness. When it's light, it's self-realization through suffering. When it's dark, it's unwillingness to find a solution or to forgive. To go deeper, read A Poisoned Tree by William Blake. When you harm another, you harm yourself. Keep in mind this goes for our earth as well, with cosmic consequences. Wow. And then it says, the spreading of venom is like a chain reaction. When we strike others, it is likely we ourselves have been struck. Break the cycle. Okay, beautiful. I mean, I love that it was reversed. Take those messages both ways. I think it's really important when reading cards to take the light and dark aspect for everything, because it's important to acknowledge the shadows. They exist, and when we deny them, we give them power. So for some of you, this is a reminder to be aware of the words that you're using, especially about yourself and about others, because words are spells. That's why they call it spelling. Guys, I know it's so corny, but it's so true. Our words manifest. So yeah, maybe you're becoming more aware of your words and using them to empower yourself rather than tear yourself down, using them for compassion and awareness rather than like cycles of drama. And it kept mentioning the earth and plants. So again, I feel like being in nature is a huge part of this process. Like maybe you've either been choosing or are about to be choosing to spend more time outside in reciprocity with nature and sort of letting that ground you, and that will be a really powerful grounding influence basically for this new beginning. I'm also thinking of in Lord of the Rings when Grima, like the little like leech of a man who's basically draining Theoden King with Saruman the White. Gosh, what's her name? Is it Eothen? Anyway, the king's niece, she says like, your words are poison. And it's basically like this little shadow, greasy, slimy man was ruining this whole kingdom and draining the king with his words and saying things against others that weren't true. So it's interesting. I would like to dive more into this. Let's actually use the skeletal tarot this time. I didn't use it for the last one because it felt a lot more straightforward, but I just want to get kind of an image or a story of what this is talking about for group 2 with the Nine of Pentacles and the Venom. I do feel like it's kind of coming into power with your magic and choosing to create beauty through communicating that rather than communicating the old story. Oh my god, the Empress just wanted to come out in my hand, which is basically Nine of Pentacles. She's like Mother Nature, ruled by Venus, beautiful, growing things, art, beauty. And then you have the High Priestess. Interesting. Let's get one more. Okay, well, it gave us more than one more. I'm going to take that one too. At the bottom, you have the Wheel of Fortune, which talks about things changing. Like what goes up must come down, what goes down must come up. Everything is always changing, and I feel like it's changing in your favor because you have the 4-leaf clover. And then you have the Nine of Cups in reverse on the bottom. So I think during this time, or in the recent time period, you have been or are sort of uncovering what you actually want, because Nine of Cups talks about wish fulfillment. And with it in reverse, it's like maybe you were wishing for things unconsciously or affirming things unconsciously that you didn't actually want, and now you're affirming what you actually do want. Yeah, especially with the cards that came out, you have the King of Cups, the Star, and the Ten of Swords. Okay, group 2, my camera just died, and when that happens, I feel like it's symbolic of maybe getting burnt out because of an old way of being or an old way of believing, like literally like Theoden King getting burnt out by Grima, the little leech, draining his energy. So this process that you're either beginning, or again, this reading is for a lot of people, you may have begun this process sometime in the past, maybe even years ago, and it's finally coming to fruition, of being aware of your thoughts and being aware of your words, being aware of how you think about yourself and how you speak about yourself, how you think about others and how you speak about others. So the cards that you have are the Empress, which I told you, she's kind of like Mother Nature, taking care of yourself, also self-care, Venus, maybe indulgence, the physical world. Then you have the High Priestess, which talks more about the inner world, feelings, intuition, the unseen versus the Empress's the seen. So kind of like the divine feminine of the seen versus the unseen. You have the King of Cups, which talks about emotional awareness and maturity, kindness and compassion, like evolving the emotions. And then you have the Star card, which talks about wishes, wish fulfillment, inspiration, the muse. And then you have the Ten of Swords, which can talk about being overwhelmed or even like feeling betrayed, or like life just keeps throwing things at you over and over and over and over again. And then you have the Eight of Pentacles, which talks about doing the work. So often it talks about your craft, your hobby, and working on that. But the way that I portrayed it in this deck is like this person's doing yoga, there's a journal right there, there's art in the corner, there's plants growing in the window, maybe those are thought seeds. And so I feel like, again, either you began this process a while ago of becoming more aware of your inner feelings, what your intuition is telling you, and becoming more aware of the things that are like these swords in your back so that you can let go of them. And that comes through the practice of awareness, like daily awareness moment to moment. So in the if you're someone who started this process a long time ago, it's starting to pay off now, and you've been able to let go of that voice maybe internally that talked you down before or made you feel less or like you weren't capable of doing what you wanted. And that's why you're coming into this beautiful, abundant Nine of Pentacles energy. If you still feel like you're in this Ten of Swords energy and like life is just not working out for you, like it's one thing after another, then this reading is asking you to return more to the inner world and focus there. Focus there first without trying to make any moves outside of yourself right now. Like make sure that you're right inside. So we're gonna pull some more cards. These are Animal Oracle. I would like to know what energy can be supportive of group 2 right now. What can they call on as like a power animal for overcoming this venom if they're there? Let's do that. Let's do 2 options. So first, I would like to do it for people that are returning to this process of rewiring the internal dialogue, talking to themselves more kindly. What's the card that would most, or the energy, the animal that would be most helpful for the people that are kind of in the middle of this work right now, of rearranging the internal landscape so they can be more aligned with their true desires and their true feelings? What would help them? What would be their power animal? Holy mackerel, that's a lot. I don't think I would want to take all of these, honestly, because it's too many. It's too many. What energy would be supportive of the people still in the middle of this process of overcoming the venom? Cool. You have the Starfish, Wishes and Sensitivity. So I feel like the people that are still in the middle of this are being asked to be a little bit more gentle with themselves, and to focus on what you actually want rather than what your mind tells you you're worthy of, and to sort of lean into letting go of, the limiting internal dialogue. And like, if you have the thought of like, like this career path is not available to me, or like this job is not available to me, or like this amount of income is not available to me, as an example, in your mind, like maybe even pull out a journal and like write that thought down and just start asking questions about it, and like being curious about like, well, is it available to other people? Like, what have I done in the past that maybe I didn't think was possible and I did anyways? Like, in what ways might these thoughts not actually be true? And then, you know, once you go through this process of sort of just kind of leaning into that fear or that limiting belief, then start another list of like, what do I actually wish for? I was just talking to my sister about this the other day, of like writing your, like, if you're looking for a new partner, you're single and you want your next partner to like really meet, you know, certain goals and needs of yours, it can be really helpful to like write those down So in that case, I always write like my non-negotiables, which are the really basic, like this person needs to be kind to other people. They need to be dedicated to growth and have a growth mindset. They need to be, you know, respectful and healthy, or like striving to be more healthy and balanced. And so those are like the non-negotiables, right? Put that in any part of your life. Your job. Like, what are your coworkers like? What's your pay? What's the environment? Are you working remotely, or are you working like in an environment? And if so, what is the environment like? Like, what's the lighting like even? Like what are your and then your preferences, right? So that might be like, oh, I would love it if my partner had green eyes. I would love it if they wanted, or if they love backpacking, so we can go backpacking together. Right, and then putting in the preferences too, just so that you can get clear. And the more that you focus on your wishes and like your true internal desires, the more that you can overcome this other voice, the more that you let yourself focus on what you want and not on what you're afraid of. Also, the cat is trying to get in, so I'm just gonna open the door. Symbolically, maybe that'll open the door for you. Focusing on what you actually want might open the door for you so you can actually have that. And then, okay, and this is for the other people who have already been in that process. And yeah, you're already in this Nine of Pentacles energy. You've already overcome the venom. You have the Firefly, and it says simplicity in childhood. Oh my gosh, my roommate's cat is so cute. You probably hear him meowing. Simplicity in childhood. What is your inner child crying out for, like this little kitty here? What used to light you up when you were a kid, and how can you do more of that now that you have this independence and this abundance of the Nine of Pentacles? And this, like, what did you find beautiful as a child? How can you go, like, how can you go there? Like, when I was a kid, I loved the ocean and tropical places and beaches, and when I went to bed at night, I would daydreaming about like walking up a beach by the ocean and like dolphins jumping. So like, what was your happy place in your fantasy and your daydream as a child? And how can you let yourself go there more? Like, either daydreaming about it, maybe reading books about it, looking at images of it, watching like okay, I love the ocean, and for me, whenever my inner child is like wanting some love, I watch the show H2O. I don't know if you know it, but it's amazing. It's like an Australian children's show about girls who turn into mermaids, and I love it. Like, the imagery of being underwater and seeing like a tropical reef and tropical fish and like magical mermaids, even though it's like corny, for me that's like my happy place. So yeah, for those of you already in Nine of Pentacles, like, yeah, just reflect on, like, in childhood, what inspired me and how can I draw on that inspiration now and bring more of that into my life? At the bottom, you have Peacock. It's beauty and completeness. Love that. So that's sort of the end goal of this process for both of these groups, is to just feel like you are complete and beautiful and worthy of all of the abundance and prosperity of the Nine of Pentacles. The candle just went out too. I feel like it's like, yeah, that's it. You're worthy of all of that and more. And then you have the kangaroo. It says progress and care. So yeah, just know that, I'm actually going to leave these out. Just know that you are progressing. You are progressing, and it's really important to just like take care of yourself during this time. Whatever that looks like, it's, you know, it's always going to look different for everybody, what that looks like, but just be really gentle with yourself, with the Empress, the High Priestess, the King of Cups. Like, all of these cards speak to me seriously of just giving yourself what you need. And again, it's going to be different. You might need right now to just like be nice to yourself and try to shift your mindset from all the fears overwhelming you to like what could go right, instead of what could go wrong, what could go right. And for others of you, you're already experiencing that because of the work that you put in. And now it's like, how can this get even better? Like, and listening to like, what does my body need specifically today? One of my good friends and I were talking about this the other day, how like she just started running again. And it's not like I have to go run tomorrow, like I'm going to force myself. It's more like she woke up and she was like, I'm actually in the mood to run and I'm going to do that. And that's such a beautiful place to be in. Her and I were just bonding about that, like not judging what you need and just like actually actively listening to your body and your mind and actually responding with compassion as if those needs were speaking to you like a child. Period. I'm gonna pause the video so I can light another candle for you. I also just want to reflect that not only did the camera die during your reading, but the candle also burnt out, so you might be recovering from burnout. And again, honestly, I feel like that's for the whole pile. Like, let yourself rest and just indulge in the things that feed your body and your mind and your spirit, because you deserve it and you're worthy of it regardless of where you are on this path. And like, especially if you're at the beginning of the path, like that's gonna help set you up for things that actually fuel you instead of getting you in another situation that's just draining. What energies would like to support group 2 during this return to independence and beauty, to the garden, returning to the garden? You have respect. Starts with you. Respect starts with you. So how you treat yourself matters. And again, this is like honoring the call of your body that this was talking about. Like when your body needs rest, letting yourself rest. When your body needs fruits and vegetables from the garden and you just want to lay in bed and eat a whole like vine of grapes, let yourself do that. Like, you might habitually stress eat and think like, oh, I just need to like order a takeout pizza, but actually your body's like, hey, can you eat some strawberries instead? So start with respecting yourself in that way, respecting your feelings. If you feel uncomfortable around a certain person or disrespected by a certain person, respect yourself enough to create distance. Also, you know, with the venom, this could be respecting others and the way that you talk about them. Respecting them with the way that you talk to them. I feel like this is huge. Communication, like being aware of how you're using your words. Are you using it to lift others up or to tear them down? So this return is going to be very much about like what does respect mean to you, and how can you be more integrated with that, with respect for yourself and for others. I'm actually going to set it up like that. At the bottom you have gratitude. Beautiful. So group 1 also had this. So that can go along with like your wishes too. Like counting your blessings now instead of focusing on everything that's going wrong is really going to help you make a comeback if you're in that group. If you've already gotten through it, then having that gratitude for what you have and gratitude for yourself for all the steps you took and all the growth that you made, all the healing that you went through to get where you are now is huge. And then at the back you have Soul Tribe, you're not alone. Yeah, so yeah, you're not alone in this process. Other people are there to support you, and may have even gone through hardships like you have. So yeah, lean into that. Like, don't isolate yourself. A good friend of mine used to say that the opposite of addiction is connection, and that is so, so true. Connecting with others during this time, again, like if you've already gone through this process and you're out on the other side, then you've attracted this soul tribe because you put in the work and you respect yourself and you respect others, and now other people are meeting you there. I totally just thought someone came home, so I was going to close my door, but it was just the cat being wild. So maybe soul tribe is like you live with someone who is part of your soul tribe. But yeah, otherwise it might be like, if you're still going through this, that the more that you treat yourself and others with this respect, the more you draw it in. And if you're already at the other end of this process and sort of reaping the benefits from it, soul tribe is one thing you manifested through the process that you get to enjoy now. The fruits of all that labor and that healing. So is there any other advice for this group? Let's do first for the part of this group that are still going through this process, releasing the venom. It says birthday. A significant birthday holds the answer to your question. So I don't know, maybe something will happen on your birthday, someone's significant's birthday. Is there any other advice for, maybe it's like celebrating life, like celebrating your life, celebrating the lives of your loved ones. Any other advice for group 1? Marriage just fell out in reverse over here on the soul tribe, you're not alone side. The fairies join you in celebrating wedded bliss. It's so interesting. All these cards are about celebration. It could be marrying parts of your soul tribe into yourself, like the people that you love, looking to them for inspiration of like, how did they get through it? What did they do? What are they doing that's working? And like actively listening. That's something that's been really valuable to me in my early adulthood. Like, when I've met people who were like older than me, usually, not always, I have a few friends who are younger than me who super inspire me, but just people who inspire me in general, I would look at the way that they live their life, and like learn from that, like learn through seeing what someone else is doing or has done. And then you have easy does it. Stop trying so hard to control everything and all the doors will open for you. Oh my God. And I literally just opened the door for the cat. Wild. And then you have pregnancy on the bottom and winter on the top. So yeah, I feel like the biggest thing I'm getting here is like birthday, marriage, and pregnancy. It's all like celebration, like celebrating life. And I feel like that's what you're being called to do to help get you out of the mire if you are from that first group, to just celebrate things and celebrate life. And again, if you've already gotten to this place of the 9 of Pentacles, then like celebrate yourself for getting there and celebrate the beauty around you. I'm gonna pull one more just for the group that's already overcome this venom, respected themselves, drawn in the soul tribe. They're practicing gratitude. They're focusing on their dreams. What feels good to them. It just says everything's okay. Beautiful. Don't worry. It's all working out in a beautiful way. Yeah. So maybe now that you're like in this 9 of Pentacles energy too, like don't let any like past doubts or fears get in the way of the bounty that's already yours and wanting to be yours. Okay, so I'm going to pull just a couple more cards. This time you can ask a question. I'm going to pull 3 cards. So if you're drawn already to the number 1, 2, or 3, that'll be the answer to whatever question you ask. Or if you want to ask 3 individual questions, you're welcome to. I'm going to lay them down upside down first so you can take a moment to consider your question. Cool. This group, your angels really want to answer your questions. At the bottom, you have opportunity, in the top, trust. So just trust that there are more opportunities waiting for you, group 2. Pause this video if you need more time because I'm going to flip over now. If you chose number 1 as an answer, not the right time. Number 2, big happy changes, beautiful, love that for you. And number 3, improving health. Awesome. So group 2, I really hope that this reading was helpful for you. There's definitely a lot here. So yeah, I just wish you a lot of blessings and flow and positive growth and healing on your path, and just continuing down this empowerment through respect and trust and surrender and gratitude and focusing on your dreams and on what lights you up and letting go of the swords of doubt and fear. I really wish that for your group too. So thank you so much for being here, and yeah, I really hope to see you next time. Bye! Hey group 3, welcome to your return reading. We're gonna start out with your gift of tarot card. These things are so awesome. I've found them in a few different like rock shops and mystical shops, and this set of, they're always sets of 3 cards. This set I got a few weeks ago with my partner, and that's what's running today's reading. So let's look at yours. Your return is the Ten of Cups. I love this for you. It says, the Ten of Cups, your happily ever after moment is on the way. Celebrate all the love and togetherness you've been blessed with. I'm like wanting to cry right now. This is a promise of a joyous future filled with what you want. It's a good day to journal about what your heart's desires are. Look for ways to share the peace and harmony that surround you. Oh, that's so beautiful. Wow, so 10 of Cups energy, that's like super fulfilled, like basically wishes fulfilled, like all your dreams coming true, the sweetness and safety of like family, home, loved ones, beauty, getting everything you need. Like I picture like a 3-course meal made by your mom with like love in it. That's so beautiful. And your archetype card is the Village. I wanted to come out in reverse, but we'll read it both ways. So the Village talks about, I mean, community, really, when it comes down to it. With it being in reverse, it might be that your community is changing a little bit. Yeah, your community might be changing a little bit, or you're maybe returning to an old community, or you've taken all the right steps to create a community. But in this case, it's like a return to community. So I wonder if you're returning to an old community, or if community itself is returning to your life after a time of maybe isolation and self-reflection. But let's pull some cards. It's kind of funny. I didn't use the Skeletal Tarot for pile 1, but I did for pile 2, and we're going to use it for you as well. So give us a little story here. You have the 10 of Cups again, the Wheel of Fortune, the 6 of Cups, giving and receiving, and a Tower. Let's see, what's the story for group 3 with this 10 of Cups in the Village? The 9 of Swords reversed. Beautiful. So upright, the 9 of Swords is like anxiety and like sleepless nights basically. But with it in reverse, it's like being within a community that you no longer feel anxious. Like you feel safe, you feel protected. You're maybe affirmed. You don't feel like you have to hide. What do you have? The Page of Wands reversed wanted to come out. So maybe, woo! And another card just fell out too. Okay, hold on. Hold on now. Gotta keep up. Ow. You have the Prince of Swords. Okay, what's going on with group 3? You have the Sun. Wow. That's gorgeous. 10 of Cups and the Sun together in one reading. That's like the most auspicious freaking thing ever. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Honestly, I'm gonna leave it at that. So you have the 9 of Swords, the Page of Wands reversed, the Prince of Swords, and the Sun. I feel like here the Page of Wands is to me more talking about childhood. It's interesting how much, I mean, I guess the reading is literally return, so something from the past and from childhood, but some past passion, perhaps. It could be a person or a project, a place that made you feel like a child. This is like a sunflower field, and this little child skeleton is like dressed up like a wizard, like transforming the little scarecrow. So maybe you used to be scared of some passion and you're returning to it with the scarecrow, or you're transforming your fears with the 9 of Swords here, and the Prince of Swords just charging forward towards your happiness. So beautiful. It might even be too as we move into the summertime. I'm reading this in May, so it might be as we move into summer, you kind of overcome these fears too. But I feel like a lot of this has to do with the people that you're surrounding yourself with. They're really helping you overcome your fears of maybe self-expression, acting on your passions, like prioritizing that creative inner child aspect of yourself. maybe afraid that like what you create isn't worthy, isn't beautiful, or it'll reveal aspects of your subconscious or something. I keep thinking of like the artist's way to like Julia Cameron gives all of the inner critic like fears of like what would happen if I do this thing that I'm afraid to do. So I feel like, oh my god, I just cut this deck and it says magic, believe in it. So yeah, I feel like the community that you're in is really helping you overcome these anxieties and these fears and helping you return to your passions and your trust in yourself, your belief in yourself. What energy will aid group 3? Whoa, you had one come out right away. That's so powerful. You have 3. And then, interesting. So the first one that fell out is Kundalini energy. Let me get her here. It says power within. So your own inner power is going to be your guide here. So any way you can open up your Kundalini energy. I'm also just noticing all of like the yellow and like kind of like reddish yellow in those cards. So like your solar plexus, your willpower, your self-confidence, your feeling of grounding, and even there's some pink in there, so like loving yourself. Kundalini energy can be awakened just like spinal movements. So doing yoga, doing hot yoga, dancing, swaying, like rhythmic rocking, is all really powerful for activating your Kundalini. Breath work and meditation is huge. You also have the higher self fell out, higher self connect with it. So meditation. I feel like part of this with Kundalini will be physical, but part of it is also surrendering to stillness as well. And maybe even like creatively, like with the Kundalini awakening, creativity can come through with that. And with the Page of Wands, I feel like maybe your creative aspects have been suppressed. And now that you are connecting with this like solar sun energy, which by the way, the sun can also symbolize childhood, children, the innocence of that and creativity. The more like potentially as you connect with that aspect of yourself, your higher self will sort of send in information. So if you let yourself write, like stream of consciousness write, like she talks about in the Artist Way actually, this will help unlock things that your higher self has been trying to tell you. Or if you let yourself paint again, like some wisdom will come through the work that you create. Or even just dreaming, like writing down, it says here, it's a good day to journal about what your heart's desires are. Like as you reflect on your heart's desires and your dreams and write them down, you might write something down and be like, huh, I didn't even know that I wanted that. And it's like your higher self is finally able to communicate that to you. The more that you sort of let yourself get into trance state with Kundalini. So again, whatever does that for you, like, again, it could be exercise, like some sort of rhythmic exercise. I feel like that's huge for activating the solar plexus and helping ground down with the root energy. But as well, like connecting to stillness as well. You also have 25 and then 26. So as a progression, I do feel like it's like do the exercise first and then get into stillness, kind of like with asana, like a yoga asana practice, doing the movement and then settling into shavasana and letting yourself receive from that place and setting the intention, or doing some visualization of like light pouring in, or visualizing connecting with your inner child and asking what they need or what they want, or yeah, whatever you need. Maybe I'll even record some meditations. It's something I've actually thought of, but you have one more card. You have Ether, the space in between. Wow. So it's almost like you're maybe between even like two phases of life, and one of them was filled with this sort of anxiety and suppressing maybe certain passions or desires that you thought were maybe immature or illogical, or I don't know, just somehow weren't aligned with whatever persona you had created for yourself. And now you're sort of in this in-between space of like rediscovering yourself, which is really beautiful. I just like the color. Do you see that? Like orangish, peachish, yellow. It's really beautiful and very light. But yeah, ether, I mean, also just connecting with that otherworldly energy. I'll read the book for this one. Beep, beep, boop, boo. Okay. Ether, the space in between. Ether is the space in between everything. It may appear solid, but science has proved it is much more complex than that when we add atoms and electrons. In the context of spirituality, ether is the stillness, the space in between us and everything else. Specifically, it is the element which connects us to the universe and all that is contained within it. Ether can connect us to spirit, to other dimensions and planes of consciousness, and to our own intuition. Think of it as the invisible conductor needed to make everything real in this world and the next. When we settle into our bodies and clear our mind, we connect to this invisible force. It contacts us constantly by subtle messages or feelings. It is the force which has created creation, and since it created you, it still resides in you. Tapping into this energy can have a profound effect on our lives, on how we heal and how we endure. So again, Shavasana, babies. It gives you an exercise though. For right now, I invite you to explore how this force exists in your life. Maybe it's a strong sense of intuition or knowing. For right now, your task is merely to start to identify it and start to accept its presence as part of your reality. Start to connect how everything and everyone is connected. Yeah, I love that. So again, like a lot of this is about community, connection, family even, like thinking about how you and your family are so deeply connected, how you and your friends are connected, how we connect with others, like even on the phone. It just reminded me of my phone call with my friend the other day. Like, so many of the lessons we've been going through over the last few months have been the same, but we haven't even been talking to each other. And it took like talking to each other for us to be like, whoa, you're going through that too? That's wild. So interesting thought. Also, I was just noticing how in this exercise, the author says start 3 times. 3 different times in like 3 sentences. So starting something. So maybe it's like just start. Like maybe you've never had a stillness practice before and it's like just start. Maybe with that project that you're afraid to do, or the passion, whatever, with the Page of Wands reverse that you're afraid of. It's like just start with the Prince of Swords too. The Prince of Swords is like charging forward. It's like, let's go, let's do it. And it's charging towards the sun, which is joy, enlightenment, creativity, playfulness. So I love that for you. Next, we're gonna ask about your power animal. So what power animal energy can group 3 connect to during this time for their greatest good and the greatest good of all beings in this return? What will be a helpful energy for this group? What will help them connect to their power and to stillness and to community and initiation, starting. Beautiful. Interesting. So your first card that came out is the Hedgehog. It says inner world and curiosity. So yeah, I feel like that comes back to the whole journaling thing, or the creative aspect of there might be parts of yourself that you've been afraid to face, but now you're returning to the self, or now that you're returning to this sort of safe community or home, or you know, whatever it might be for you, it's now safe for you to explore these parts of yourself that maybe it didn't feel safe before. And then you have the Viper, and it says fear and healing. So again, I feel like this is just asking you to really lean into that and really let yourself face that fear and really go within. It's probably why you've avoided stillness, because you've been afraid of what you might discover from that place, from that silence and that stillness. But what's there is gold, and it'll help you actually experience more joy and light in life, even if it's hard at first. It's almost like the dark night of the soul that then sets you free at the end. You might be returning to these old fears and anxieties and insecurities so that you can face them once and for all and actually like move on from them into something better. On the bottom you have Jaguar. It says charisma and shamanic gifts. So that's interesting. Shamans are the ones who go through, you know, these deep pains and even like have these psychotic episodes, and it's so that they can gain the wisdom from that and emerge on the other side better able to help others. And then you have the Toad, listening and secrecy. So you might even be keeping secrets from yourself, or have secrets that you just need to face. Like you might be avoiding them because of some kind of shame, fear, anxiety of like not being accepted in the village, not being able to have the 10 of Cups because of whatever this is. And just know that whatever this actually is, like you are so worthy. There's nothing about your innate worth that will ever change, right? Like just know that. And those who love you, they'll love you no matter what. And if they don't, then they're just not your people then. You know, you don't need people in your life who will shame you and outcast you because of something that they disagree with or that they're afraid of, right? I just cut to perfect timing in this deck, so it looks like it's perfect timing for you to be going through this right now. If it seems like this time is like chaotic, just know that it's all working out perfectly for you. Actually, I want to share this with you. So yesterday, I live in a ski town and I was trying to get snowboarding before work because we were just getting a lot of snow for the spring and I really wanted to get out. And the transportation just kept being one thing after another of just that I couldn't get there. Like the bus I wanted to take wasn't running because it's slow season. So I drove and parked in a parking lot and the bus wasn't coming because of construction. And then the bus I took to the gondola and then the gondola wasn't running. And then it was just like one thing after another. And I ended up just not even going because I was like, there's no point. Like I'm going to be rushed at this point. So I went to this cafe and I was telling the barista and she was like, it sounds like the burnt toast theory. And I was like, what is the burnt toast theory? And she was like, if things are just not working out, there's a reason for it. Like you burn your toast in the morning and so you make another slice that's not burnt and then you end up, you know, running late and it's because you're like being protected basically, like you're avoiding something that would be harmful. And so yeah, I just feel motivated to share that right now. Like if you are going through something, group 3, just know that it's not forever and it's happening for a reason to like redirect you so that your page of wands can be upright instead of reversed, so that you're no longer hiding parts of yourself and so that you can experience that sun solar energy that's like deeply happy and fulfilled and at peace and joyful and playful and unashamed. I feel like shame keeps coming up during this, like, because little children are not ashamed. They will run around naked. They will like squat and take a shit right in front of you. Like that's the energy of a child, right? And so that's what this process is leading you to, is letting go of that shame. So energy supporting you at this time, the first one that flipped out immediately was connect with nature. You're rejuvenated and inspired by spending time outside. So please prioritize that, group 3. This will help you get grounded. It'll help you connect with your personal power, just getting movement, being outside, connecting to the solar energy, being in the sun, sparking your internal flame. You have flower power. Spend time with flowers and flower essences to increase your personal healing power. Love that. So as I'm doing this reading, it's springtime, and so this could just be a sign to like literally go out and like smell the flowers, you guys. Appreciate the beauty, like spend time like the Buddha, just like gazing at a flower to become enlightened. Oh my god. Do you see what the sun character is looking at? A flower. They're looking right at a flower. Yeah, so go look at flowers, and it might sound like a silly message, but just trust me. Just trust me. Just go gaze at flowers for a half hour and smell them, and then try to tell me that it didn't improve your mood, it didn't inspire you, it didn't bring you inner calm. Because I swear they're so powerful, you guys. One thing I do for self-care now is buying discount flowers from the grocery store and keeping them on my altar, because it's so beautiful to wake up and see flowers every day. You have spring, and look, that person is literally sitting in a flower. Your desires fully manifest as the flowers begin to bloom. Your desires fully manifest as the flowers begin to bloom. Beautiful. That's going by flower power. You have travel, and you have vegetarian. An upcoming trip proves to be life-changing in positive ways. That's awesome. So maybe that's traveling to an old community of yours with the village and the Ten of Cups. Maybe the travel is the Page of Wands, and in reverse, like fear, like maybe you're afraid of traveling, maybe traveling on your own, maybe you're afraid of that, and like that might be a part of your breakthrough, is traveling to a new place. Maybe traveling to where your ancestors are from, even with the Ten of Cups, it can talk about ancestry and family. And then you have vegetarian. A new way of eating gives you more energy, greater health, clarity, and stronger manifestation abilities. So maybe you are choosing to eat more plants, or maybe just choosing to, eat foods that are more whole foods rather than processed. Maybe cooking for yourself instead of eating out, so that you can actually pour your intention into the meals that you're making. Because honestly, the energy that goes into cooking is huge. I have gotten actually angry before when someone who was angry cooked for me and I ate the food. So yeah, just changing something in your diet. Maybe you even have a food allergy and you're becoming more aware of that. Okay, group 3, we're gonna do just a few. Ooh, it was 2222 when I looked at the clock. That's cool. I always think of harmonious relationships when I see repeating 2s, like harmony in relationships. It's also the 2nd house, which could be career and finances. But anyway, these last cards will be for you to ask a question. I'm going to pull 3 cards and you can choose from them. So if a number came into your mind right away of 1, 2, or 3, take that as that will be your answer. Or if you need to see the cards first, maybe if you're more visual and one sticks out to you, then that will be your answer. If you have multiple questions, feel free to do that too. And yeah, just take this time to ask that question or those questions. Something I'm getting, just because no cards are coming out, is that for this group, it's really important that you meditate, because the answers are within yourself, and looking outside for answers or trying to force answers might not be the best way. I'm still going to try to get these 3 cards regardless, though. For pile 1, for their greatest good and the greatest good of all beings everywhere, what's the answer to their question? Well, that's auspicious. That's not auspicious, what's the word? It's funny, you'll see when I flip it. So for the 2nd pile answer, what's the answer for this 2nd question or 2nd pile? Whoa! Well, you saw that one probably. And for the 3rd one, what's So if you still need a second, feel free to pause the video, otherwise I'm just going to start flipping them. So the first one says, it's up to you. That's why I laughed, because it's well, it's not really a clear answer, but it's an answer. The next one says, be assertive. So that's if you wanted number 2. And then 3, get more information. Okay, awesome. I hope that you enjoyed this reading, pile 3. Yeah, and I hope that this return to community, bliss, family is encouraging you to remember that your happily ever after moment is on the way, and all it takes is, you know, getting in tune with yourself and your true desires, empowering yourself, getting still, facing your fears, facing your shadows, and, you know, knowing that you're worthy even with all that. Yes, that's what I have for you. I wish you so many blessings on your path, and I really hope to see you next time. Bye! As a final note, pile 3, if you're still here, I just want to say to fearlessly go after what you dream of, like what you desire and what makes you happy and what brings you joy, because you're so worthy of it. You're so deserving, and it's so available to you. So just a final word of encouragement. Okay, love you, bye.